A loyal liger? We still don't know, but we did learn something about our beloved kitty cat backup. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take a fully spoilerly look at Kaiju number 8, Chapter 103. This chapter is a bit of a time loop, a subclass of flashback that happens when we have a wide-ranging battle like the one the defense force is currently involved in. See, from the time that this attack begun, way back in chapter 70, over 30 chapters ago, maybe 15 minutes has passed in the story. There was a hard 10-minute time limit on all of the one-on-one captain to Kaiju fights due to overheating, and then from the time that Kaiju number 9 showed up to phagocytize Mina to the end of this chapter, we are looking at a matter of seconds, perhaps a minute tops. So from Kafka being ordered to attack Kaiju number 9 and hesitating, the rookies rocking up with their newfound powers, Reno showing up and lighting a fire under Kafka. That was all happening simultaneously in that less than a minute time frame, and also in that less than a minute time frame this chapter happens. And now we are going to jump right into the story with all the spoilers. So, in order to give you a chance to click away if you do not want spoilers, I am going to take a moment to mention that my latest book, Flying Sparks, Dragons, Aliens, and Things That Go Boom in the Night, is now available for pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and from the author as a signed copy. You can order this book as a hard copy or a digital ebook, and the printing and shipping process will begin on March 15th. Beware the Ids of March. Chapter 103 happens, and the story warps back in time just a bit to show us what has been going on with Mina in those few seconds since Kaiju number 9 overwhelmed her. Because you see, as we have known from very early on, Mina is something of not a glass cannon. She is more versatile than that, but definitely a brittle cannon. Without her division to back her up, without the brawlers on the ground around her protecting her, she, having dumped all of her skill and training into her massive cannons, is profoundly weak to melee attacks. Kafka is hesitating over defending the civilians in the shelters. Hoshina the Younger is past his 10 minutes and tied up with other Kaiju besides, but there was one loyal, dedicated melee expert that we all forgot. Beku, the probably a liger tiger waiting in the wings. Mina had told her third point of ground contact to seek cover, but once she was out of sight, Baku of course showed all the obedience of the cat that he is, whether tiger or liger, and burst out of hiding to back up his master. Of course, despite being a giant tiger, Beiko is no match for the new king of the Kaiju number 9, but importantly we get to learn more about Bako's backstory, or rather we get the answer to one singular question, and we get a heap more. Is Bako a pure-blooded tiger with taming and training to make him obedient, or is he a larger and more naturally cooperative liger, half lion, half tiger, genetically predisposed from his lion genes to actively cooperate with the female pride leader in hunts? Well, we still don't know. That question is not one that was answered. What was answered is the theory that has been bouncing around since we first saw Bako, that he is in some part a Kaiju. Kaiju number 9 blasts off Bako's leg, and it simply regenerates, leading our creepy villain to call Bako a wannabe Kaiju. This is interesting, this phrasing. Checking the Manga Plus version, Kaiju number 9 says he failed to become a monster, which gives us another perspective on just what Veoh is. Add this to the fact of the ant kaiju still behaving like ants, staying in the underground and not bothering people. It looks like there might be a natural kaijuification process, with many kaiju simply being normal creatures that were infected with the kaiju genetic code. Like zombies, like the cordyceps, fungus infects insects in real life. The hints we get from this chapter suggest that Veoh was simply a liger who was infected by this kaiju code, most likely deliberately but possibly naturally. Mina needed a cooperative hunter who was fast enough to keep up with her and intelligent enough to place itself physically as her backup and tough enough to take multiple hits from powerful kaiju and keep fighting. So the defense force made her a liger, which is awesome, but that is hardly the only backstory hints we get. We did not get to see what General Director Isao Shinomiya experienced as he was first absorbed by Kaiju number 9. We do get to see what Mina experiences. Kaiju number 9 takes the form of the person she trusts and relies on most to lure her into a sense of safety and offering her everything she desires. What did Kaiju number 9 offer to Isao? It is hardly a leap to assume that Kaiju number 9 placed Captain Hikari Shinomiya before her husband and had her lure him towards a world where they raised their daughter together. A world where Hikari was the disciplinarian and Isao was a doting and encouraging father. Now we know he resisted that to the end, but what torture that must have been. Oh, the delicious implications of suffering. Muha, chef's kiss. I wonder if we might get to see some of that in the B-side manga. Oh, I hope. Then we have the biggest backstory reveal of all. The personality that is Kaiju number 9, that voice that speaks, considers itself as trapped in the body of Kaiju number 9 as much as Mina is and Isao was, which is interesting. If we add this to the fact that Kaiju number 9 seemed to consider it normal that a creature like Elijah would be transformed into a kaiju, then it seems like, by the way, shout out to Daffy Days for articulating this theory not too long ago. Kaiju number 9 himself might have been a human transformed into a kaiju. Something like Kafka, but either the original human mind has lost itself or was kind of crazy to begin with. But what do you think of all of this, my wonderful viewers? Which of these 3 reveals did you find the most interesting? I think it's pretty clear which I found the most interesting by the amount of time I spent on each, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.
Escape into another world with the writings of author Betty Adams. 2 worlds, one of utter absurdity, one of dramatic tension, both alike in aliens absolutely astounded by human behavior. Humans are weird, short, absurd science fiction stories. Flying sparks, dragons, aliens, and things that go boom in the night.
Books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and at authorBettyAdams.com for a signed copy.